Arman Sarukian versus Dan Hooker, and Bilal Muhammad versus Ian Gary have been added to UFC Qatar. Qatar? Am I good? Is that good? On November 22nd. I like those fights. I like both of those fights. We'll talk about them. First, I'm going to give you guys my full card predictions for UFC 320, starting from the bottom, going to the top. Then I'll rapid fire, and then we'll talk, whatever you guys want to talk about. Hit me in the Q&A. I'm excited for this card. I have multiple bets on this card, as I always do, but, I'm betting more on this card. When I did my 5 most confident, I actually wrote down 7 locks. One of them being a pretty damn sizable underdog. That is over at Dog of the Week on Premium Channel. If you want to see who I'm betting on, direct message at Mike Finch Show on Instagram. My guy T will get you in there. And let's talk fist fights. First one of the night is the ladies. Veronica Hardy taking on Brogan Walker. Brogan Walker does not belong in the UFC. Brogan Walker is not a full-time fighter. It's just not, Veronica Hardy has actual skills, talent, full-time, taking this thing serious. Hubby is Dan Hardy, that's good. That's good. Brogan Walker lost to Juliana Miller for the Ultimate Fighter finale. Had a rough start to the UFC and has been out for a long time. Also older. This just seems like a landslide to Veronica Hardy, who, is actually a talented kickboxer who can grapple. So you got to think Veronica Hardy gets it done. Now, the records don't necessarily tell you that. Veronica Hardy's 9-5, Brogan Walker 7-4. I would say don't look at the records on this one. Look at where they're at in their career. Veronica Hardy. Ramiz Brahimaj taking on Austin Vanderford. I'm going to go Ramiz Brahimaj. Austin Vanderford has better wrestling. That is true. He might get a takedown or two, but Ramiz Brahimaj is better on the ground, and he's definitely looking more dangerous to me on the feet. I was there when Austin Vanderford lost to Aaron Jeffries in Bellator, and you could see some pieces of the striking that aren't that fast and confident in Austin Vanderford's game, as to where Ramiz Brahimaj is on fire right now. He dominated Billy Golf. He smoked Mickey Gall. I know it's Mickey Gall. I know. I fucking know. Okay. I think that he can get it done against an Austin Vanderford in an upset here. So give me Ramiz Brahimaj. Then I'm going to go Punahele Soriano taking on Nikolai Veretennikov. Give me Soriano. Give me Soriano. He hits harder, and the drama that's been going on at King's MMA, they've been, all respect to King's MMA and Rafael Cordeiro and what he's built, but they've been losing their fight team. I mean, people, Giga Chikadze has been over at, Classic, and, Benil Dariush is at the Anaheim location, which I assume Nikolai Veretennikov is at, because who's at Huntington Beach right now? I know a pro fighter who's over. He's an amateur fighter. I'm sorry. I know an amateur fighter who's over there training with the pro team at King's MMA. He's like, it's evaporated. Rafael Cordeiro has been working now with Mike Tyson, getting him ready for the Floyd Mayweather fight. And so he's going to make a lot more money doing that. It makes sense for him to focus on that, but that means his focus is not on the Huntington Beach headquarters of King's MMA. So I think that's not good for Nikolai Veretennikov. It would be nice to have Rafael Cordeiro, one of the best striking coaches in the world, helping you. And I don't think he has a full-time, full-focused Rafael. And then you're going to take on Punahele Soriano, who already hits harder, whose wrestling is better. I got to go with Soriano, especially after that vicious knockout he got. Patchy Mix taking on Jakub Wikłacz. Wikłacz. It's like Wilkos, that guy who took over for Jerry Springer. Remember the Jerry Springer show? It was like the Steve Wilkos show. No, that's okay. Patchy Mix. I mean, Patchy Mix should be better at striking here, which is really helpful because he just fought a great striker and he looked stiff. And I think this is a great comeback fight for him. Now, Jakub has nice guillotines as well. They both do. So this should be kind of a, stylistic clash of two guys who generally have this massive submission grappling advantage. I'm watching Wikłacz. I keep changing his last name. I don't know. He's Polish, and I got him like 30% Polish. I should be able to hold it down. Okay. Sorry. Wikłacz. I'm going with that. Wikłacz has a nice front kick up the middle, and he should try to keep range on Patchy. But I think Patchy deals with that like basic Muay Thai shit really well. You know, I got to see him train at the Performance Institute, and if you look at his style, I think he could scoop that lead push kick, kind of get his hands going, and show us what he could do on the feet. He knocked out Rafian Stats, who's a great striker. If you've only seen him in that one UFC fight, you haven't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing yet. Baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. Here's something that you never gonna forget, baby. You know, you just ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't been around. Because I have been. I've seen him fight live many times. And I think Patchy's going to show you guys what's up. Macy Chiasson taking on Yana Santos. I got to go Macy Chiasson. She was this hyped prospect, you know? And Yana Santos is not young. Yana Santos just beat Misha Tate, but was it that impressive? It was actually pretty competitive. I think Macy Chiasson is able to probably pitch a shutout here against Yana Santos. Long, tall striker. I think she probably gets it done via decision. Daniel Santos taking on Ju Sang Yu. Man, Ju Sang Yu has that nice check lead hook. Daniel Santos, pretty clean Muay Thai too. I mean, I think it's a fun fight. I would not fucking bet on this one. This is a good fight. You know, Daniel Santos, he's got that shoot the box style, and he knows how to win around. I mean, he's got decent output. He's fought decent competition in the UFC. This is really a step up for Sang Yo, who, you know, got a nice clean KO, but against who? It's like now you're starting to move up in the division. We'll see what he's really got. I'll go with the South Korean, but brother, Daniel Santos already just came off the win over the South Korean. He's rolling right into it. They're going Brazil versus South Korea. All right. And so Yu's going to have to hold it down. Good fight. Close one. I like the matchup. Yu knockout is not crazy. So we'll roll with him. Farid Basharat taking on Chris Gutierrez. I'm a bit of a Chris Gutierrez believer. I am. He's a good round winner. Chris Gutierrez knows how to do a little bit more to win a round. He has an instinct for it. I like that, okay? Because that's generally underrated on like betting side, right? You got somebody like Farid Basharat, who's this solid wrestler, fucking takes you down, beats you up on the ground, can get you out of there. Good striking too. I think he'll be outstruck by Chris Gutierrez. I do. But the problem here is Chris Gutierrez's takedown defense is like 70%. I think the number's going to lower after this one. I do think Basharat, with a bit of pressure, can get him down to the ground. So let's go with Farid Basharat. But, I mean, I think the odds are a little wide. Edmund Shahbazyan taking on André Muniz. How am I going to bet on André Muniz? How the fuck am I going to do that? Dude doesn't have the drive, man. You know, we've seen him wilt. I won't carry on with that. You know? I think that on the ground there's a big fucking difference, you know? Like I can't believe what I hear some people say about Edmund Shahbazyan's ground game. Yeah, Edmund Shahbazyan has a good ground game. What? Huh? Edmund Shahbazyan's ground game is trash. Okay? Major fucking hole in his game. All right. Yes, it's more trash when he's tired, but really being fatigued just exposes how bad your ground game is. You should still not be getting submitted in a 15-minute fight when, you know, you're tired. You could at least stall it out, hang on, you know, you won the first 2 rounds, kind of stall out the third type of thing. His jiu-jitsu is not even that good. You know, you get him a little tired, he starts making big mistakes, he starts wilting, you know, they both do. So, I think that the biggest difference here is the striking, and the fights start on the feet, and Muniz has not shown me enough offensive wrestling. Like, Muniz has not shown me enough of an ability to get a takedown when he needs it to where I can pick him against Edmund Shahbazyan. I'll go with the better striker here. He's been looking good. I like the Petrosky training camp right before this. You're getting ready for this big fucking beast of a wrestler. You know, dude looks like the Terminator. And, you know, he had to defend takedowns and light Petrosky up. I think he lights this dude up too. André Muniz, you know, definitely a lot better in straight jiu-jitsu, but the fights start on the feet. Ateba, Gautier, and Treston Vines. Treston Vines stepping in on short notice against Ateba. Gautier I think you got to go Gautier because we're looking at striker versus striker, and you're looking on really short notice here. Gautier's got this crazy power. Now, am I as much of a believer as some other people? No. Gautier has a lot to prove, and you could definitely see something get exposed. How's his, submission grappling? How is his fatigue when you really push him in a fight? There's a lot of things to learn about Ateba, but at this level, the way they're bringing him up, you got to keep picking him via KO. I won't do anything different with Tristan Vines. This thing might end up being a vine by how short the fight is. Did you get that reference? Thank you. Ateba Gautier knockout. Joe Pyfer versus Abus Magomedov. This is a good one, man. Abus Magomedov been looking better. He's been looking better since that Sean Strickland loss. I think he's really turned a corner. But it's Joe Pyfer. Joe Pyfer hits harder. Joe Pyfer is better at submission grappling. Joe Pyfer is stronger. Abus Magomedov, he was wilting in the third round before. Is it gone? Is it not? I don't know. I just have to go with the guy who's better. I think Joe Pyfer just offers more here. I think he hurts in Abus Magomedov, but it's an interesting fight for sure. I'm going to go with Joe Pyfer. I think that people have been dunking on him way too much about the Kelvin Gastelum fight. It was a strategic adjustment. It wasn't, him not having the skill set. I think that Joe Pyfer can look good and maybe even finish Abus Magomedov. Josh Emmett versus Yusuf Zalal. Yusuf Zalal. It's Yusuf Zalal's coming out party, and not in a gay way. Yusuf Zalal should get a highlight reel here. There's another way where you could fight Josh Emmett, bull and matador. Pop, move, right? And we saw him do that against Calvin Kattar, but listen to him at the pre-fight press conference, right? He really wants a title shot, and he's like, if I can finish Josh Emmett, I'll get that. I believe him. I believe that he wants it. I believe he's going to go for it. He's very dynamic. He can kick, knee, punch, elbow, grapple. I mean, Yusuf Zalal's the entire package, and now he's shown us some improved footwork. I'm going to go with Factory X's prospect here. I think Yusuf Zalal should be able to get Josh Emmett out of there. If he doesn't, he could always go back onto that footwork and get the decision. Josh Emmett is aging, and Yusuf Zalal is approaching his prime. Yuri Prohaska versus Khalil Roundtree Jr. It's about to be a fight, folks. This is good. This is fun. You got Khalil Roundtree, who does the basics right. Hands up, chin tucked, shoulders relaxed, looking at the tops of his eyes, moving forward, head off the center line, rip hard kicks. He throws clean combos. He's tough. He's durable. He's got cardio. He's a good striker. And by the way, I do see this fight on the feet. Neither of these guys like to take the fight to the ground. And I trust that they're down to go at it on the feet. It's probably fight of the night. Yuri Prohaska, even if he starts losing this fight, I think can find a way to win. Yuri Prohaska's more unpredictable than a Khalil Roundtree. He might spin. He might jump. He might, you might have him hurt and he might catch you. Yuri Prohaska has more weapons. Okay? Khalil Roundtree's bread and butter. Yuri Prohaska's got the seasoning. He's got that side dish you didn't expect. Fajitas. That's Yuri Prohaska. I think Yuri Prohaska can get a knockout here. With that being said, he's been focused on his master's degree. He's been focused on, and trust me, my little sister Megan, shout out to Megan, has been at school working on becoming a doctor. To talk about it full time, no, lifetime. I mean, it takes everything. So how is Prohaska at university getting his degree, just got his degree, and focused enough to face Khalil Roundtree in the UFC? I'm a bit concerned. PSA out there. I do think that you got to be all in on fighting. And I'm not saying Yuri Prohaska isn't all in on the moments he's training, but what I mean by that is you have to be 7 days a week. Even on rest days, you're watching film, your head's in the game. You're not studying for your fucking exam, right? So I know it's a beautiful thing that he got his master's degree. That's awesome. I absolutely support lifelong education as a fellow lifelong learner. I mean, I'm always trying to learn something new, whether it be going to art of jiu-jitsu and Kolabate teaching me that shoulder clamp, or, whether it be I'm learning about like real estate and finance all the time. I'm a very curious person too. But like, did he need the degree? Did he need the fucking paper, the degree? No. For what? You know? They're going to have you do all this work. I think it's a red flag. I do. We're talking about, who to pick, who's going to win, or even like betting. Yeah, I'm concerned Yuri Prohaska's, only half focused on this fight where, Khalil Roundtree's been able to zero in. Rooting for Yuri. He's a fucking fun fighter to watch. I'll pick Yuri Prohaska knockout. Merab Dvalishvili taking on... He yelled at me when I said this wrong. Let me read this. Dvalishvili. Merab Dvalishvili taking on Cory Sandhagen. I saw him at the gym twice now. Last time sparring Giga Chikadze, and I say his last name wrong. He's like, brother, you have to get this right. I'm like, oh, my bad. Why'd I go Dagestan voice there? What was up with that? My bad, Merab Dvalishvili taking on Cory Sandhagen. You got to go with the champ. Cory Sandhagen was just losing to fucking Umar Nurmagomedov 2 fights ago. I didn't forget that. What, we saw him beat little tiny Davison Figueiredo? And now he's the man? No, should be Merab. Merab should be able to handle this wherever it goes. The obvious advantage for Cory Sandhagen is he's tall, lanky, and he's got weapons from the outside. You start closing distance on him, he throws that flying knee, but he's got, one knockout with the flying knee? We're going to bank on that? We're going to pick him to win because he's got 1 KO with the flying knee in the UFC? Fighting fucking Merab, dude. Who spams takedowns? So the flying knee is a nice weapon. I understand what people are saying. But we're going to go with Merab. I think he's a lock. I think Merab is just on one right now. His cardio is unmatched. His wrestling is unmatched. The spamming of takedowns is unmatched. It's really something special. He drowns people. Cory Sandhagen, very technically sound everywhere, right? He'll throw up a fucking omoplata off of his back. He's got a dynamic guard. He's got good wrestling. He's got real good striking. And I like that Merab's been calling him a striker, right? I don't even know if Cory Sandhagen would identify as being a striker. But, because he's got a wrestling background. But, that's the right way to see this fight from Merab. He has to be sharp with the striking and the takedown entries. Because after they start grappling, Merab's just going to eat him up. I got Merab Dvalishvili taking out Cory Sandhagen via domination. Cory's pretty game, so it could be a decision. Last but not least, Magomed Ankalaev trying to defend that light heavyweight title against Alex Poatan Pereira. This is a fucking fun matchup. I think the first fight you saw a Poatan who was a little bit reserved, a little bit off the gas pedal. And I think in this rematch, you're going to see him on the front foot, on the gas pedal. You could see in his sparring, he's got an edge to him, man. Poatan's pissed off. And I think he's going to go in there hunting. So it's definitely a fun one. Poatan can knock any man unconscious. He puts a lot of power behind his shots. When he twists his hips, man, he could just put anybody out. And Ankalaev's coach talking about, punching power. It's not like a one punch type punching power. The fuck are you talking about, bro? What the fuck are you talking about? Shit like that makes me want to see a Poatan KO. But we gotta pick with our head, not our heart, okay? Poatan's like 38. He hasn't fought, obviously, since that. And he's talking about, like, not fighting as often, because he used to be active. And now he's been like, I don't want to be very active anymore. I'm getting up there. He's out at fucking haunted houses with Nina Drama and shit. He's getting caught up in the drama of this fight. I don't, and look on the flip side, Ankalaev's 33, fucking in his prime, getting better. Rewatching that first fight, it was a close decision, but he was able to stand up and clinch with Poatan for 25 minutes. You think he's going to come into this fight more confident or less confident in striking with Poatan? You know what I'm saying? I think he's coming guns a-blazing. I think you're going to see the best version of Ankalaev you've ever seen. And I think you'll see an improved Poatan too. Super fun fight. Excited to see Poatan get his shot. At least he gets his shot at taking the head off of this dag. So I think that, I think Ankalaev, potentially KO, potentially gets a finish, but he could grind out a decision here too. Wouldn't be surprised to see him hit a takedown, especially if Poatan decides to stay on the gas a little bit more. Maybe he ends up getting tired in 4 and 5, and we see Ankalaev take over that way, get some type of TKO or submission. I just said every finish because I really don't know, but I think he's going to try to put him away. I think Ankalaev and Poatan are both going out there to not hear what the judges have to say about this. It's a fun fight. All right. One more time for my people in the back. I got the champs defending their belts. I think Ankalaev is entering his prime. You're going to see a new and improved Ankalaev against an aging Poatan who apparently came in heavy for this thing, although he looks healthy to me. I'm going Merab Dvalishvili because I think Cory Sandhagen's getting a little too much love after beating the former flyweight in Davison Figueiredo. He was getting out-wrestled by Umar Nurmagomedov. He asked, who out-wrestles me? Fucking 2 fights ago? What are you talking about, Doug? I'm going Merab Dvalishvili hitting the wrestling. Give me Yuri Prohaska over Khalil Roundtree, although I'm concerned, Dr. Yuri. Give me Yusuf Zalal over Josh Emmett. Less concerned about that one. Joe Pyfer over Abus Magomedov. Maybe a finish. Ateba Gautier making a 14-second clip out of Treston Vines. Edmund Shahbazyan outstriking André Muniz. Farid Basharat out-wrestling Chris Gutierrez. Daniel Santos and Joe Sang Yu getting a fucking good competitive striking match between the two. It could